Hey, what's up YouTube? It's Blacktop here. Today I'm bringing you a video on good versus bad legacy support and what sort of makes legacy support good or bad. And I guess this discussion will lead to a larger discussion of what makes good versus bad support in general. I apologize right away for the quality of some of these images. I just got them off of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Wikia, so their quality depends on what they have on there. Yeah, that's going to be it. And when I talk about good legacy support, I'm talking about like Cyber Dragon tier stuff, and that's actually the deck I'm going to use as an example today for the good legacy support. I'm not talking about decks like Thunder Dragons, which are meta right now, which received ridiculous support that's really just based around like one card. And the card that's based around sort of has to do with the mechanic of the deck, but really Thunder Dragon support, I don't count it so much as legacy support because it doesn't stick entirely with the theme. But if you're looking for like, if you consider this legacy support, if you're looking for like the best legacy support, Thunder Dragons would be it. No questions asked. But Cyber Dragons I think are a close second, so I'm going to use them as the example for the good legacy support in this video. Excuse me. So let's get talking about support here. So let's talk about Cyber Dragons, right? So Cyber Dragons are one of the best legacy supported decks, and I think it's because of their design of like their search cards, their synergy, and their boss monsters. So I'm going to go through those three categories because I think those are like three of the most important categories for legacy support. The ability, their consistency, their synergy, and their like powerful monsters. So Cyber Dragons have a really good search card, Cyber Dragon Core. This came out actually not quite a while ago, but it didn't come out as recently as their most recent waves of support. This is kind of an older card, and it's really good. It's on normal summon. You add a Cyber Spell Trap from your deck to your hand. Of course, this is not an optional effect. You have to do it, basically. And there's plenty of good cyber spells and traps. I didn't really include any of those in this video, although there are some like Cyber Emergency, which is one of the best search cards I've ever seen. Cyber Repair Plant's also really good, and Cyber Rep System is just a great extender for the deck, as well as a revival card. But Cyber Dragon Core is like one of the it's the most basic, and yet it's one of the best pieces of search. It's simple, it's reliable, and it works. Also, Cyber Dragon Core has a great effect where it basically, in an emergency, it can banish itself and special summon a Cyber Dragon from your excuse me deck. And the best thing about the Cyber Dragon monsters, which is something that good legacy support really does share, is that all of their main deck monsters become Cyber Dragon while on the field or in the graveyard. This means anything that would affect a Cyber Dragon can affect your Cyber Dragons on the field or in the graveyard, whether it's Core, regular Cyber Dragon, Veer, Hers. I think even their newest Link monster, Seeger, I think even it becomes Cyber Dragon on the field or in the graveyard. So that's what makes Core good. Now, if you look at searching stuff for Dark Magicians, which is the deck I'm going to use as the bad example in this video, Magician's Rod can search any card that specifically lists the card Dark Magician in its card text. What does this mean? So this means Magician's Rod cannot search things such as the Eye of Timaeus, which even though not a whole lot of Dark Magician decks play it, I think it's one of the more important cards in the deck, and it would be much better if Magician's Rod could search the Eye of Timaeus. Why? Well, we'll get to that section in a little bit when we talk about the boss monsters, but the Eye of Timaeus does not specifically list the card Dark Magician. It lists a Dark Magician monster. So this could be Dark Magician, this could be Dark Magician Girl, this could be, I don't know, anything else. Or Dark Magician of Chaos, I think that would also work. But yes, any Dark Magician monster. So it does not specifically list the card. Rod can't search it. Rod does have some really good search targets, though, in Magician Navigation, Dark Magical Circle, Illusion Magic, and Eternal Soul, which is basically the Dark Magician's go-to continuous trap card. It's a really good trap card, but I didn't include it in this video because it doesn't pertain to the discussion here. I'm saying that it was a fault, a very bad fault, whenever Magician's Rod was created, that it could not search the Eye of Timaeus. If it did, the deck would be a whole lot better, I do think. Speaking of which, I'm going to talk about synergy next. So, Cyber Dragons have a lot of built-in synergy, actually. And what I mean by synergy is that like it jives well with cards that have been previously created and cards that have been created after it, too. It goes to show that like Konami has a lot of forethought whenever they make these decks, or whenever they make Legacy support rather, because we can see that there are a couple different things that Cyber Dragons can do that involve previous cards and other cards in the game. So Machine Duplication is a really big card in Cyber Dragons. If you're not running it at any less, or if you're not running it at 3 in a Cyber Dragon deck, you're not doing it right. Basically, you normal summon Core, Core gets a search, and if you have Machine Dupe in your hand, you can activate this and special summon 2 Cyber Dragons from your deck. Why? Well, Machine Duplication targets Core, but since Core becomes Cyber Dragon on the field, you can special summon the 2 Cyber Dragons from your deck. That's pretty insane. Getting 2 free level 5 monsters gives you a free Nova and a free Infinity, and that's really good. And speaking of which, Galaxy Soldier here, it also jives well with the deck. It's a level 5 light machine monster, which means it has an easy special summoning condition. It searches itself whenever it hits the field. It's a great card, and it's also used, because it is a level 5 machine monster, to make those Nova into Infinity plays. That's the whole point. That's one of the main points of this deck. It's boss monster. Infinity is the boss monster of this deck, and that's one of the reasons I think it makes it better than Dark Magicians in a way, because of their boss monster, but also because of the synergy that gets it there. So yes, Galaxy Soldier, Machine Dupe are great pieces of synergy. Cyber Dragon also has some great extenders in Instant Fusion and Overload Fusion. Instant Fusion can get out a Panzer Dragon, which is a level 5 machine monster, of course, to make those Infinity plays. Instant Fusion is a good extender in any deck, but especially in this one when it has a monster specifically helping it make Infinity. That's kind of the whole point. And Overload Fusion is a good card to summon Chimera Tech Rampage Dragon if you want to go for the OTK. But Cyber Dragons, I just want to show you that they can run these cool tech options, and they can get away with it. Dark Magicians can't really do this. And I'll sort of explain why here. So basically the only thing I could think of that Dark Magicians can do tech-wise is run cards like Cosmo Brain, which just came out in Cybernetic Horizon. I guess not just came out, but came out recently in Cybernetic Horizon. But this card really affects all sorts of decks that revolve around normal monsters, high-level normal monsters. It's a level 7 spellcaster, I guess, so it has some synergy there. But all in all, it doesn't have very good synergy with the deck. Dark Magicians also can run the Spellbook engine, you know, like the two Magician, 2 Secrets, and 3 Knowledge. That's typically the ratio you'll see in a Dark Magician deck if they run this engine. It's a good draw engine, but it doesn't have a consistency engine out of this. It doesn't have an extender engine, and it doesn't have a special summoning engine, which I guess that's an extender engine, but you don't see that in Dark Magicians. Now, there was a list a couple months, couple weeks, I can't remember, but my friend showed me a list that came out that was Mech Knight Dark Magician. It's one of the weirdest things I've ever seen, and I guess it would work, but it's kind of hard because Dark Magicians want to go first. They have spells and traps they want to activate on the opponent's turn, and Mech Knights are a going second deck. They want your opponent to have cards, so it's kind of a conflict there, but otherwise Dark Magicians can't synergize well with much. After that, I'm going to talk about the boss monsters. I want to talk about Dark Magician's boss monsters, quote-unquote, first. So the first one that really comes to mind when I think of it is Ebon Illusion Magician. Basically, this gets you a free special summon of a Dark Magician or any spellcaster-type normal monster from hand or deck. And then it also has an effect that whenever Dark Magician or another spellcaster-type normal monster declares an attack, you can target a card your opponent controls and banish it. That's really good. Spot removal is always really good, especially non-targeting spot removal. Ebon Illusion Magician is clearly designed to work with the Dark Magician deck. It's a rank 7 Dark Spellcaster, 2500 attack, 2100 defense. It's Dark Magician in Xyz form. And then their other card is Dark Magician the Dragon Knight. It's a fusion monster with Dark Magician and 1 Dragon monster. Of course, it's summonable via the Eye of Timaeus, which is another reason that makes Magician's Rod bad. If Magician's Rod could search the Eye of Timaeus and Dark Magicians could play Dragon Knight more consistently, I think they'd be a much better deck. Why? Because Dark Magician, Dragon Knight, like the Cyber Dragons, is where it has that clause that its name becomes Dark Magician while on the field or in the graveyard. And then it also says your opponent cannot target spells, traps you control with card effects, and they cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. Eternal Soul, which is like Dark Magician's main trap card, basically blows up their field whenever it leaves the field, but it also makes Dark Magician in the monster zones unaffected by card effects. That's huge. You create a soft lock whenever you have excuse me, Dark Magician, the Dragon Knight, and Eternal Soul on the field. that would be good legacy support if you could get to Dark Magician and the Dragon Knight consistently. But because Magician's Rod cannot search the Eye of Timaeus, you cannot do that, really, in a consistent manner. I suppose sometimes you get lucky and you draw into the Eye of Timaeus. Also, some decks run that Keeper of Dragon Magic or something. It's the newest tin promo in the Jade and Yuki tins that came out this year. But all in all, you can't get to this too consistently. And I guess Dark Magicians can also make Galaxy Tomahawk to Link Climb, but that's not really a Dark Magician boss monster. That's just cheesing the system, I guess. Cyber Dragons, on the other hand, have some really great monsters. I wouldn't consider all of them boss monsters, but like things like Rampage Dragon. Rampage Dragon is used for OTKs. Fortress Dragon is good in the mirror match. It's good for getting rid of some decks like Sky Strikers, for example, that play machine monsters. It can suck them up using its summoning condition. It makes it a great card for those purposes. And also Cyber Dragon Nova and Cyber Dragon Infinity. Nova is also kind of an OTK enabler, a little bit, but most importantly, it's used to rank up into Infinity. Infinity is a negate and sometimes a steal too. It's a really great card. You don't really have a negate in Dark Magician. The only sort of negate you have is like that lock you have going on with Magician or Dark Magician, the Dragon Knight, and Eternal Soul. Other than that, though, no negates. And then finally, their most recent support for Cyber Dragons, Chimeratech Megafleet Dragon and Cyber Dragon Seeger. Megafleet is a great card, especially in the Link era, when your opponent can extra link you fairly easily. Well, not anymore. Rip Firewall. But it's a great card for tearing monsters out of the extra monster zone. And Cyber Dragon Seeger is a good sort of enabler of OTKs, I guess you could say. It's good for getting over stuff, and it's a great link monster. Dark Magicians don't have a good link monster. They don't really have a good boss monster outside of Dark Magician the Dragon Knight, but like I said, the problem with that is that it's way too inconsistent to get it out. That's really all I have to say about the boss monsters there. Cyber Dragon wins, hands down, on almost, if not every aspect of good legacy support. And I think I think there's a good reason for this too. So basically, the concept of Dark Magician revolves around this. You want to summon out a normal level 7 monster, a beater. That's what you want to summon out. And it's not even a particularly strong level 7 monster. It's only got 2500 attack. At least, in Blue Eyes, whenever you're trying to special summon a Blue Eyes White Dragon, it's got 3k attack. It's big. But in the case of Dark Magician, it's level 7s. And you want to get more than one of them on board to make your rank 7s or your, excuse me, your Dark Magician the Dragon Knight. But like I said, it's way too inconsistent to make that consistently. I suppose there are a couple of other great rank 7s you can make. But ultimately, when it comes to the power levels of the deck, Cyber Dragon wins hands down. Why? It's more consistent. It's got more powerful boss monsters, and it's very versatile. It's got tech choices like the Instant Fusion, the Galaxy Soldier, the Machine Dupe, all these things that make it great. And all in all, Cyber Dragons are a very strong deck when compared to Dark Magicians. Dark Magicians are fragile, they're inconsistent, and their win condition, Dark Magician, is not very strong. That's what the video of today is going to be, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you'd like to see more of my content. And please comment down below what sort of legacy support you think is good and what sort of support you think is bad. What do you think makes good support or bad support that I missed? And really just anything you want to say. I don't care. It's not. I don't police this section anyway. So thank you so much for watching again, and have a nice day.